Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk, and we have a bottom tier heavy and a tier 10 game. What do you do with your bottom tier heavy? Maybe to some extent even more difficult than a bottom tier medium. Yes, the bottom tier medium will struggle sometimes to do the damage to the big boys, and really even a bottom tier heavy will, but at least the medium has some mobility, right? So typically worse guns, worse armor, but at least some mobility to move around. On a map like this one, Himmel's Prokofka can be very difficult in a heavy. So as I look at this setup, there's no artillery. There's a couple scouts. We got a 251 on one side, or on our side, and an even 90. They've got a 432 and a T49. And I'm already kind of liking the setup with the scouts. I feel like we have better scouts, especially in terms of the even 90 if he does a nice job. The 251 is just absolutely raging around. So I'm going to come to the 5-6 line, one of my favorite spots on this map, especially in the heavies. You know, you can go to the 1-2 line, you can sit in a bush. A heavy's not really going to be able to push unless it's late game, or for some reason you're a 100-0-1 in a tier 8, 7 and 6 game, and they just don't have any kind of armor at all or guns, which doesn't really happen, right? There's always going to be some TD or something with a good gun, no matter what your tier, sitting on the 1-2 line. So, or you could go to the hill, but I find this spot, especially as a support medium, or support heavy, which is what I am in this role based on my tier, not necessarily based on the tank, but based on my tiering and the situation. I'm going to come here and I'm going to see what I can do to just try to support any spotting that goes on. There's no artillery. That will be very helpful, and the enemy team doesn't seem to be very aggressive on the 5-6 line in terms of popping up and trying to get lights on us. Their 110E5 though is a major pain in the rear because he's doing a nice job popping up, taking a look, getting shots, all that stuff. So there's the 50 TP. He gets a lit. The 105-100 on the other team is right across from me. And we have only two guys up on the hill. So we got a Lorraine and a 780. Their IS-3, I don't know what he's doing right there. That's a very strange position, but there he is. Probably should get worked over pretty quickly right here, especially since he's spotted. The trick is that those guys have to come up and expose themselves a little bit to get those shots. So he's taking hits. I'm not going to sell out right now. Lots of guns left in the game. And if we take a look at this and think about it logically for a second, I'm imagining the Foch is probably on the 1-2 line. That's where generally I think you would take a Foch. Could be up on the hill there, but not very likely. But the 4 Spirit, Scorpion, and Prototype could certainly be on the hill. I'd really expect the 4 Spirit and Scorpion. The Prototype's very slow, but we'll see how that goes. And then there could be some various mediums and other stuff up there playing sniperinos. Now, we only have 2 guys with an AT-15 sitting down at the bottom, sitting up on the hill. So I want to support those guys as much as possible. I do not want them to get pushed and pushed off the hill and killed. That's going to force us to react big time. I'll have to go back to the crossing up there to the north, or maybe run into the corner or something like that. So that's what you're sort of looking for on this map. Pay attention to all 3 flanks. This is one of the very few maps in the game where all three, sorry, excuse me there. Whatever, dude, I didn't do that on purpose. Where all 3 flanks, this is a great snapperino, dink, can support each other to some extent, and it doesn't take a whole lot, especially in the middle, from flexing over to the 1-2 line or back over to support the hill and get shots on the hill right there. Just for nothing, not for nothing on that shot. This is the cyclical gun on the 105-1000. It does have a 2-shot autoloader, which I do not like on this tank. This particular gun is actually the better gun, or the higher gun. It's the last one to unlock. Theoretically, that means the developers thought that that was the best gun for the tank, at least in my opinion, based on how you unlock it. Some people will use the autoloader. That's a nice burst to some extent, but the reload's pretty long, and my problem with it is its accuracy is complete garbage. So pulling off shots like that on the 105-1000 on the other side, I find to be much easier. Plus I run the IA on this thing, which gives it a really very comfortable and pretty accurate dispersion. So I actually like this gun quite a bit on this tank. It's also relatively fast. It has a pretty good little zip on it. If you throw a turbo, it's even better. This is a bummer. It's going to go right over this guy. So, okay, there is a Scorpion G there. Not surprised. Kind of expected him to be there. Somebody has hit him. So I think maybe some of the blind fires might have gone into that guy. To be honest, I don't know if he was lit. Down goes our 832. Our guys are getting a little aggressive there, and they do get kind of beat up with the poking because there's no artillery, and this is something you're going to see in a game on proc with no artillery, guys, you're going to get the hold down monsters are going to all get up here and play hold down games. Look at them all just lined up here, peeking and poking. The even 90 has moved pretty far forward, and the Char's right there with him as well, which is a little bit surprising. The BZ's in the dip, but the... Where's the other one? Yeah, the BZ's in the little hole right there, but the Char and the even are up top. There is still a LT-432, and he's kind of raging around, but he's not picking up the ELC. So the ELC is just hoping that guy does not get... I miss another shot on that guy. The ELC is hoping that that guy does not get a proxy light on him, because he can disappear pretty quickly. That was unfortunate. I think that guy was actually shooting at the WZ, and I ended up blocking the damage for him right there. So we're just going to hang out here. The guys on the hill are doing a nice job. We'll probably take a few more shots into some of these bushes right here. There goes the Char. Yeah, I was worried about him. He was up high. The M4 takes a hit. One of the big problems with dealing with the middle and as many crossfire angles as you have on proc, when they're all poking and prodding like they are and there's no artillery, is you can get some slightly different angles. So if you're the M454 in the middle and he comes up and say he's turned his turret right to look over here, these guys have shots into his turret. Maybe he turns his turret left to look at these guys, or maybe up to the hill. Then the guys on this angle have shots into the side of the turret. So it's kind of tricky to manage all of the different directions of exposure. I think I actually get one in there. There we go. So we're cranking it up a little bit. We got 932, keeping our hit points here. We're alive. We got a little advantage of 3-2. I have to be a little bit careful with how many blind shots I take right here. This tank has a decent amount of ammo, but you can see I'm getting down to 17 of the standard stuff. I don't suspect I'll really get in trouble, but if I kept shooting every time I reloaded, I might not end up with ammo at the end. So we put a shot into him. I don't know why the Caliban's peeking. Maybe he's starting to sense things are slipping away. Maybe he thought he could pop over and put some of those big hits into the 40T and eliminate that guy, but all it gets him is a few hit points gone. That puts the Scorpion, the Forest Spirit, the Progetto, I went right over, and that's unfortunate, and the Caliban all up on the hill. I notice our WZ-114, he was next to me. He actually bails out and goes all the way back here looking for sniperinos. The 40T is nearly dead. So this is a part of the game, of the match, where I'm starting to sense that maybe those guys on the hill are going to think about making a move. All right, we'll see if that actually happens, but as the game starts to slip away a little bit from them, sometimes they'll notice that there are low hit points there. It looks like all the action's on the other side of the map. They'll try to make a push and take out the 780 and the Lorraine. Good news is I think they probably know that the AT is sitting back there by now, and I don't know if they know the WZ's back there. So that may be holding them. Plus it's a 780 with, what, most of his hit points. And there are a bunch of mediums and paper TD. So we'll see what happens. You can see that our guys over on the 1-2 line are doing some good work. They're really trying to bully and get rid of this 110E5. That guy's really anchoring things. Notice there's an E100 somewhere unlit. All right. Our 176 dies. Down goes the 50 TP, which was the guy that was right on the other side of me. So now I'm starting to sense I'm going to have some possibilities here. Put another shot into the Caliban. Probably should have prioritized the Progetto. I may have been able to take him down. Sometimes that's hard to see in the heat of the moment. And in fact, the Caliban was in front of the Progetto. I would have had that shot, but at the time I took the shot, I wasn't sure the Caliban would move out of the way or that they wouldn't both start moving. Some of that's hindsight. I'm going to just try to take a pixel shot on him. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Almost. M454 comes and joins me. Caliban is still poking. Put another shot into him. That ricochets. That is unfortunate. And we're starting to get to the point up here. Actually, take a shit from a shit. I take a shit and a shot. Took a shot from him. I think he saw the M454. So I'm blocking some shots for my buddies here. Should have pickled that off. Not likely it was going to hit, but could have done so. We thump him for 291. Oh, we get a low roll on that guy. Leave him 33. It's a 320 alpha gun. That is unfortunate. But we've got a nice controlled 1,851 damage. We've got 95 assist. and just take a quick look at the situation. Not a huge advantage for any team, but we're about to build one up here. The 780 has gone up and over. They're about to take out the Caliban. The Force Spirit probably won't put up much resistance. And then we've lit the E100. He's actually camping in the back. That's really crushing the enemy team's chances, guys. It really is. You got an E100 that's sitting all the way back on the crossing back there, and that just absolutely crushes them. We'll go ahead and snap a Reno that dude. There's the E100. We've won the hill. We're up 9-5, so huge advantage to our team at this point. I just snap one off hoping it works, but it doesn't. We'll back out. I got lit by the 430. There's enough guns, especially the Foch 155, which I believe actually ends up killing me at the end, is one of the biggest problems. This 430 is moving, so I'm going to come up here to this rock. He's lit. He's lit. We'll get a shot on this dude. This will be nice. Here we go, and boom. We tracked him, and then the M454 will kill him, right? Absolutely. Oh, no, we're bumping each other. Okay, here we go. We got this guy. What? Dang it. Oh, man. So that guy goes in, jams himself where I am, takes the rock. So I just bail in here. I just push into this spot. There's the 110 E5. He's been a thorn in our side the whole time. The E100's dead. I'm looking for this guy. I find him, but he's way down here. He dies in... Oh, crap. The 155 found me. Drops me for 815. I think he slaps me again right here. Boom! And we go down for another two-shot to the Foch 155 right there. Ouch. That hurt. And he ends up dying really quickly. But this ends up being a win. 2,218 damage, 95 assist. Just another good example for proc. You know, your bottom tier heavy tank, you're on proc. What do? 5.6 is a great place to start. It's a great place to start. 1.2 as a support tank is not bad. But if you get out spotted by the scouts, you're not long for the world in your tier 8. I don't really recommend heavies up on the hill. If you've got a nice hold down heavy with a decent power to weight, not bad, because you have some capability to get up, take shots, and head downhill. But I really like the 5.6 because it does allow you to flex as well, even in a relatively slow heavy, either over to the 1-2 line or over to the hill if you need to. And with a tank like this, a heavy tank that has a decent accuracy gun, those long-range shots work out pretty good. So there you go. Heavy on proc as a support bottom tier. That's all I've got for today. Have a good one. We will see ya.